Aaron Rodgers is reunited with offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett on the Jets. The last time they were together, Rodgers had 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He also led the NFL in total QBR in 2021, won his second straight MVP. So Mina, Rodgers, and Hackett together again. Will we see more of the same?
Well, Jets fans certainly hope so. I think it's worth noting that Matt LaFleur, who we just spent the last segment raving about, was calling plays in Green Bay. And that we don't really know what this offense is going to look like. There's the assumption that it's going to look like the Packers, but by the end of Rodgers' tenure with the Packers, he was complaining about some of the things they did on offense with the pre-snap motion, you remember, and Dan alluded to the under center play action. So I will be curious to see Nathaniel Hackett. You've got a great quarterback, really exciting skill players. How are you manufacturing misdirection? How are you making this run game work with Breece Hall back in the mix? Does it look different from how it looked in Green Bay?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, actually. The last 6 weeks have been about the most fun I've had in a while. So it's fun to come to work and be excited about what we're doing. We got a great quarterback room to be able to work with Todd Downing and Rob and Hacks in there all the time. And you know, we get some other randoms come in and sit in the room, which is nice too. But to work with Zach and Tim and Chris has been a lot of fun.
So I'm going to begin doing segments on the Miami Dolphins opponents because I think it's important for us to follow the progress of these other teams from now through the season so we can see how they looked against the Miami Dolphins. Fortunately, the New York Jets don't play the Dolphins. First game is November 24th up in New York, and then December 17th here at the Hard Rock in South Florida. So it's going to be quite a while until the Dolphins and Jets actually face off. So there's going to be a lot of data and a lot of information behind the progression of both teams before they meet for the first time in November. So I'm going to talk to you today about something that I saw, which was very interesting regarding Aaron Rodgers and his progress with his team, the New York Jets. Let's take a look and react to this video.
Aaron Rodgers has been in New York all offseason, or at least most of it. And not only has he been around, he is having the absolute time of his life in his new city.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, actually. The last 6 weeks have been about the most fun I've had in a while. So,
you were in Green Bay, dude. You're in Green Bay. There's not a heck of a lot to do in Green Bay. I've driven through there. There's not a whole lot to do. You're in New York City, the entertainment capital of the world, basically. You got to go hang out with Taylor Swift. Not that's not my kind of music, but we saw you dancing. So yeah, you're having a lot of fun in New York City.
It's fun to come to work and be excited about what we're doing. We got a great quarterback room to be able to work with Todd Downing and Rob and Hacks in there all the time. And, you know, we get some other randoms come in and sit in the room, which is nice too. But to work with Zach and Tim and Chris has been a lot of fun.
All right, so Damian, the fact that Aaron Rodgers has been at all of OTAs is a big story, as he has not done that in recent years with Green Bay. How important is that to the Jets' success this season?
So I've got a thunderstorm coming through. So if you hear the thunder, it's okay. I'm all right. As long as things don't blink off, we're going to keep going. So Aaron Rodgers, who hasn't gone to OTAs and most of the mini camps the last couple of years with all his troubles with Green Bay, is already doing something different with the New York Jets that he hasn't done in a couple of years.
It's huge, man. It's huge. I always say championships are won this time of the year, and you're talking about a guy who already knows the system, and he's able to teach these other players like Garrett Wilson and all these other guys the ins and outs of the system, things that he wants done. Because make no mistake about it, this is his offense. We can talk about Nathaniel Hackett as the offensive coordinator, but this offense is tailor-made for Aaron Rodgers. And so being able to get those reps all offseason, throughout OTAs with these guys, that's something that he hasn't done in Green Bay, the past couple of years. And we saw last year the effect of not having those reps with those rookie wide receivers. Yeah, it definitely had an effect on their production early on in the season.
Yeah, Damian, there's such a clear blueprint for this. There's a precedent already, and it's recent, and it's Tom Brady going.
Exactly. I was hoping they were going to bring that up, and they did. Is Tom Brady went down to Tampa Bay and said, this is who I want. These are the players I want. This is the offense we're going to run. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show you guys what I expect you to do, and then you're going to have to do it.
To Tampa, refreshed, revived, willing to go down there and sort of get right in the mix right away. And that was, by the way, during a COVID year when he had to kind of do these things on a high school football field. But the one thing I'd say, and this is not to rain on anybody's parade, is that Tom Brady still had to go through a lot of rigors that first season. Everybody wants to talk about the Super Bowl and the way it ended, but that was very close to going off the rails. Yes, it is all happy right now. It is all good vibes, and that's a great, great sign, because that is what you're going to need midway through the season when it starts coming at you. I think Tom Brady mastered it, and Aaron Rodgers can continue to learn from exactly what he did in Tampa.
They say there's no substitute for experience, and I think they're finding that out with the New York Jets. You've got a very experienced quarterback who's seen it all. He's got the offensive coach, the offensive mindset that he's completely comfortable with, and he's making these young wide receivers understand, do what I tell you and we'll succeed.
Sounds invigorated right now in New York. He's likely to do something with the Jets that Aaron Rodgers has actually never done before in his career. Check this out. He has a chance to throw a touchdown to a wide receiver. It was taken in the first round. It was the most touchdown passes.
That is absolutely stunning. So let me just break that down for you. Aaron Rodgers has thrown 475 touchdown passes. Not a single one of those passes have been caught by a player who was drafted in the first round. Not until now, and into the waning days of his career, is he going to have a guy, Garrett Wilson, who's a first-round draft choice, who's a burner. He's not quite as fast as Tyreek. I think Tyreek's in that 4.2, 4.25 range. Garrett Wilson's 4.3, 4.35. But he's such a burner, and he's a first-round draft choice. And Aaron Rodgers has had never the chance to throw to a first-round draft choice in his entire career.
NFL history without throwing one to a first-round wideout. He talks about teaming up with the 10th overall pick last year in the Offensive Rookie of the Year, Garrett Wilson.
I love Garrett.
And that's true. Not only is he a first-round draft choice, but he's also the Offensive Rookie of the Year. So this guy is something special.
I mean, awesome young kid. The whole world in front of him. He's got all the talent and ability. You need your best players to be the best people on your team. He's definitely one of them. Love spending time with him. Love just watching him. I mean, there's at least one time of practice he does something. He kind of looking back at Todd and Hack and Rob. I was looking back, going, wow. So that's exciting.
A lot of potential here, RC. What do you expect to see out of this connection?
I think that they're going to be great together. One thing you saw with Tom Brady when he got to Tampa Bay was the excitement that the young wide receivers had to play with such a legend. And I've seen the exact same thing from Garrett Wilson. I got an opportunity to talk to him about Aaron Rodgers and how excited he was to not only play with him, but to learn from him. And he's got the opportunity to do that the entire offseason. He's a guy that can run the intermediate route. He catches the deep ball.
Remember, he won Offensive Rookie of the Year last year as a wide receiver, catching balls from guys like Joe Flacco and Zach Wilson, and from Mike White, now Miami Dolphin as well. So none of those guys are at the stature or level of Aaron Rodgers.
Also showing you the toughness across the middle. I believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to love playing with Garrett Wilson. It's something Garrett Wilson has that no one that Aaron Rodgers has gotten an opportunity to play with. He has a second level of juice to add to some of the creativity off the ball that we saw from a guy like Devontae Adams. Garrett Wilson, the sky's the limit for him. But along with Aaron Rodgers, we can watch the Offensive Rookie of the Year take the next step to being amongst the elite of the wide receivers. And you better believe it. If Garrett Wilson is healthy, it's probably going to take about 1 week for touchdown 477, and that one will be thrown to a guy like Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, they break.
I mean, you think about that. Everyone talks about how great Tyreek looked with Tua last year. Take that same analogy, how Tua playing with Tyreek caused Tyreek to, see heights of 1,700 yards receiving, even when he really didn't know the offense. Now you're looking at Aaron Rodgers knowing the offense. They actually have an advantage over that of which Tua and Tyreek had. Both Tua and Tyreek never played in Mike McDaniel's offense. It was completely new. Even Tyreek said, I had to do a lot of stuff just with my athleticism. These two guys, just completely opposite. Aaron Rodgers brought his offensive coordinator with him.
Out could be upon us for Garrett Wilson, which is a scary thing to think given the fact that he won the Offensive Rookie of the Year just 1 season ago.
So just imagine a year of already playing in the NFL and learning somewhat of the system of the New York Jets, and now Aaron Rodgers bringing in some of his own ideas and ideology along with his offensive coordinator. They are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I'm sure Vic Fangio is going to come up with something unbelievable to help slow that down. But nonetheless, the Jets are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Luckily, the Miami Dolphins don't play the New York Jets till way late in the season, day after Thanksgiving. So there's going to be plenty of film to review going into those 2 games in November, December.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?